Hi, this is Bob Pockris, and welcome to the SceneDaily.com Roundtable. I'm here with Jeff Gluck and Mike Hembry, and today we're going to talk about the 8 car. Remember, all those of you with your 8 tattoos, and there's not going to be an 8 car on the track at Phoenix unless some sponsorship is miraculously found by Earnhardt Ganassi Racing. This is the 8 car, the number 8, that Dale Earnhardt Jr. was trying to get from his stepmother Teresa Earnhardt and Dale Earnhardt Incorporated just a couple of years ago, and they couldn't come to an agreement to let him take it, so he went with the number 88 now at Hendrick, and now the 8 is gone. Yeah. What do you think, Jeff?
I think it's sad, personally, and I mean, you know, the 8, the reason they wanted to keep the 8 is because they said that the number itself had a lot of equity in it, and if you remember, they changed the color of it to go with that U.S. Army design last year and everything, but they still kept the same design, the same style, because that's the 8. And it meant something, and people apparently still had some interest in it, or so they thought, and it was worth something. And now it's not even going to be on the track. I mean, who could have predicted a few years ago when Dale Jr. was at the height of his climb, I guess, and driving the 8 in his popularity, there wouldn't even be an 8 car on the track. I mean, it blows my mind that we've gotten to this point, but here we are, and of course I blame it on Teresa. But.
Well, I guess there won't be, maybe some people will be happy that there's no 8 car if there's no Dale Earnhardt Jr. in it. What do you think, Mike?
Well, there's something to be said for that. This is what everything about NASCAR comes down to. It's business, I think we talk too much about numbers really over the history of the sport. I mean, what's the most iconic number ever is the 43 and Richard Petty. But when Petty saw the opportunity to make more money by driving the 42 for a while, he did that. We talk about the 3 car and Dale Earnhardt Sr., but the 3 is kind of floating out there in the middle of nowhere now. Richard Childress sort of maybe possibly owns it, or maybe NASCAR is letting him own it for a while, but it's just kind of sitting there and just making money for Teresa and Richard and the people still buying all the 3 die-casts and so forth. But, Junior changes to the 88. A bunch of people rush out and buy new white jackets with AMP and National Guard on them in the 88, and everybody's having a great time with that, apparently. So I think it's much ado about nothing. It'll be a story for a while, but then it'll disappear.
What do you think?
Well,
I'm just getting ready to have you guys load up, and I'm just getting ready to.
Well, I kind of agree with Mike in the sense. I mean, I'm not a huge numbers guy, and I don't think anybody at the Stavola brothers are going to be upset that the 8 is gone, right? Weren't they? Didn't they used to have the 8 before Dale Earnhardt Incorporated? So, but I also know that for some reason fans care about the number and they have some passion about it. So I can see it. I can see some people either feeling sad or being happy the fact that there's no Dale Earnhardt, that the 8's not out there and it's not somebody else besides Dale Earnhardt Jr., if you know what I'm saying.
Well, I just think it comes down to history and nostalgia, and even the 43 today, all we talked about in the preseason as far as the Richard Petty Motorsports team was Reed Sorensen driving the 43 and how special that would be to see that number back in victory lane. And I think that it means something to people, and to say it's just a business, yeah, of course we know that, but at the same time it means something. If you're a fan of the sport, you want to see those numbers. Those numbers have memories attached to them, and if they do well or if they're gone, that makes a big difference to people. And I think it's just a sad situation to see that the 8 is not going to be around, because Junior's not driving it anymore, and Dale Earnhardt Incorporated is kind of merged with Ganassi now, so it's not the same, but still that number and that you kind of associate good times with that if you're a Junior fan, and it's just and then you think if you're a Junior fan, you're thinking, well, how come she couldn't have just given the number? Because if it wasn't even going to be around anymore, I mean, he wanted the number, he wanted to take it with him, so that's all for naught. I mean, the whole situation stinks if you're a fan of Junior. To me.
She saw value in the number too. That's why there was a disagreement about whether or not he could have it or not, and the fact that he wanted it so badly made her want it even more. So you got into this almost violent exchange about what was going to happen, and ultimately she was the owner. So,
but so is Truex's 1 worth more than the 8? I mean, because honestly, to me, I would rather say, well, if the 8's going to go away, yeah, of course you associate Truex with the 1, but wouldn't you rather? I mean, the 8 is bigger than the 1, right?
right now, especially.
Yeah, well, well, we'll have to see what happens. Of course, Earnhardt Ganassi Racing would love to be able to see the 8 back there later in the year if they can sell sponsorship, but we'll just have to see. For right now, the 8 won't be at Phoenix. We thank you very much for joining us on the SceneDaily.com Roundtable and hope you join us again next week.